Hiking is one of my favorite things to do. I don't smoke anymore. I'm about 40 pounds lighter than I used to be. And I just kind of look at going out and kind of getting off the grid and away from society as a really pleasurable thing to do.
It's a bigger thing than most folks have ever kind of undertaken. They've spent a lot of time telling all their friends, hey, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do this. They get down there to Springer Mountain and it's like suddenly it's right there. You've done all the talking, now you have to go do it.
I'd never done anything this long. Probably the longest trip I'd done was a weekend. So something of a 6-month duration like this I'd never done before.
My through hike in 1999 took me roughly 6.5 months. That's probably a month longer than the average through hike. The current record for fastest through hike is something like 45, 46 days, something in that vicinity.
There was one guy that we met that it had taken him 8 months to go from the south to the north, and I don't know if that was just because he was taking his time or perhaps maybe what he was eating, which was frosting, peanut butter, and a Hershey bar. So he would kind of do scoop, scoop, and I just thought, ew.
I can almost guarantee that everybody that starts the trail starts off carrying too much stuff.
Test your pack before you go and test it like for a couple days. So we thought that our packs were down to a bare minimum. And when we started the trail, I mean, I think my pack was 75 pounds. And it was killer.
As your hike progresses, you will typically get very, very efficient in what you're carrying. If you're not using a specific piece of gear every day, a couple of times, it's gone. You send it home.
By the time we finished, an average pack weight for me was probably 35 pounds.
So the lighter your pack is, the more comfortable you are while you're hiking. The heavier your pack is, the more comfortable you are when you're at camp.
Being in shape would be a really good thing to do, but also it can be really tricky because what you're trying to do is prepare for something where your entire day is spent walking, and you don't really have a chance to do that unless you're hiking. So long distance hiking gets you in shape for long distance hiking.
The better physical shape you can be in when you start, the better off, more comfortable you're going to be. Now, not to say you have to go to the gym and work out like a maniac and go run 23 miles every day, but you know, drop the extra pounds, get your legs in shape. You know, that's another big one.
There's 4 muscle groups in your legs that you'd want to make sure that you keep nice and loose. One are your quads, which go across your knee and your hip. The other ones are your hamstrings. Then there's a set on the side of your legs that have funny names, so we'll just call them the side of your leg. And then your calf muscles. It's always easier to prevent something, and then it's also easier to take care of something right away. So if you notice something happening, to try and figure out, okay, how could I stretch this? What is it that I'm doing so that it doesn't get progressively worse? It's always kind of good advice, I think.
One of the best parts of any day spent backpacking is dinner. If the weather's been cold and miserable and rainy, a hot dinner goes a long way to restoring your mood and your health and your warmth.
Knowing what I know now, I think we could have eaten much better. We went in with the knowledge that we needed to have a certain number of calories per day, and probably the easiest way is to just look at a label and see how many calories are in it, but you don't look at what are the ingredients that create those calories. So things that have a lot of sugar and a lot of simple carbs like refined white flour, those tend to have a lot of calories, but they don't have a lot of nutrients. And so when you're hiking, you want calories, but your body's also craving a lot of nutrients.
One day we went to Sam's Club and we spent $2,000 in the middle of the summer, or late May, early June, and bought all the food we were going to need for 6 months.
I think I spent around $5,000. You can definitely do it for more than that. You can definitely do it for a lot less than that. That was the amount of money that I had, that I kind of had budgeted.
Kind of did all of our planning in one week, and then we had our friends mail us boxes of food, so we'd get about 10 to 12 days worth of food at a time.
Overall, adding good sources of fat like carrying olive oil and adding a couple tablespoons of that at night to dinner made the food taste really good because you're looking for taste, but it also really kind of filled in all the gaps, so we now end up feeling really much more satisfied when we eat.
If you total the time in those 6 months, I think we probably took 20 days of what we call 0 days where we weren't hiking. And I think I regret taking so many 0 days. I think if we did it again, we'd take fewer, because the last week and a half was bitterly cold. And we figured that if we had not taken so many zeros, we wouldn't have been finishing in waist-high snow drifts and freezing temperatures.
When I go into town, you know, I like pizza, I like cheeseburgers, I like taking an extra day in town to not hike.
Yeah, and you'll hear this all the time on the trail. Hike your own hike. You're gonna run into dozens of people out there, and they're trying to do their, you know, they think it's proper that you have to hike 15 miles a day, or you have to only stay on these proper trails, or I don't know, everybody has their own silly little rules, and we started off, we tried to live by their rules, and you know, you get down to it, it's like, just hike your own hike. The reason why you're out there is to enjoy yourselves.
At this point, it's to go out and hike, you know, 100 miles on the trail. It's almost like going home.
To me, hiking the AT is a huge accomplishment. I know a lot of people do it every year, but just to have done it, it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I mean, I look back on it on a regular basis as just a phenomenal thing to do.